guys, Dan Book Nook Noggin here, and I am very kind of embarrassed by this. I'm going to talk about a book that I started reading back in November. I think the exact date was November 8th, 2022. This book did not get released until February of 2023, so I did receive this as an ARC, and if I remember correctly, I got it from the author. Now we're going to go back in time, back to a time. We're going to take a little flashback here so you can understand better what's going on. And I don't know, but we're just going to get into it. At one point on my channel, I decided to kind of go with the trend, and in the indie horror community, there were a number of booktube channels that were doing author interviews. So I was one of those people. I tried to do a few author interviews, and I was just like on it. And I was emailing back and forth with Tiffany McDaniel, who is the author of On the Savage Side. That's the book we're here to talk about. And while I was in the midst, that time period, I was talking to her and about her other two books that she had written prior. I've reviewed Betty and As the Summer That Melted Everything, which I still, even after reading this one, I still do believe The Summer That Melted Everything is her number one book of all time for me. So I think she is the one who sent me the original copy, the original ARC that it took me over 2 years to read. Embarrassingly so. But for those of you who are not aware, Tiffany McDaniel, everybody knows her for Betty, which is the book about her mother. It's the semi-autobiographical kind of family history. It's all about her mom's family, and everybody absolutely loved that one. And I can put a link down below if you absolutely want to see my take on that one. But that's not what we're here for. We're here to talk about On the Savage Side. And I'm going to go back to those emails when I was talking to Tiffany McDaniel, and she just started working on the concept, I think, for the book. And she had told me that, we talked a little bit, and I'm into true crime, I'll admit. If you guys were not aware of that, I talk about that sometimes on my channel. I listen to a number of true crime podcasts, and if you've never heard of the Chillicothe Six, there were these six sex workers, I guess you could classify them as, and they were all addicts, and they all it's a cold case to this day. They do not know who murdered these women, what the circumstances around their deaths were. And because it's a cold case from Ohio, it's near to where her area is, so she decided to incorporate that into this new story. And when she first told me about it, I was like, yeah, I'm totally on board for that. That does sound interesting. So, of course, I got the ARC, and I was really into it at first. I will say, because you're introduced to these two twins, Ark and Daffy. They're from a very poor family of, I guess you could kind of call it, is it suburban, is it rural? I'm not really 100% sure what that area is like. The vibe I got from it was kind of semi-rural, like it was kind of a little bit like a city, but not really, you know what I mean. If you're from those small towns, you kind of know that vibe, right? So, it's about these two girls, and they have a familial kind of role in addiction. Their mother and their aunt are both former sex workers and addicts. It's not a book that's sunshine and rainbows, let's say that. It's very much different from Betty. It's also very much different from The Summer That Melted Everything. But there was a point There is a point to this book, and I get it. We're going to get to that. We're going to talk about that too. But for a while there, I was kind of digging the book, and I was kind of like getting the feel. It was just, but then you get introduced to all these other characters, and they're aware that there's a serial killer. Someone is picking these girls off. They all are aware, and they all know each other, but yet they just continue to go about their lives. And at one point, I just kind of felt like, I'm like, I can't relate to these characters, and I can't feel sorry for them because they're aware of the situation. I kind of got tired of the book. And I will admit that I did put it down for a very long time, and I would go back to it every once in a while. I was like, because I absolutely loved her book, The Summer That Melted Everything. I really enjoyed Betty, so I was determined, and I felt like it was my duty that I had to finish this book, even though it just really did not grip me in the way that the other prior two books had. So, and if you haven't noticed by now, I am showing you a different cover. The Kindle version I had this cover here, and it's not the one with the the blue and the red. I like this cover better, and it's referencing a scene from the book, and absolutely I think that this is a more beautiful cover than the one they chose to go with, so that's why you're seeing that one. But yeah, so like the whole I get it that people the struggle with addiction is real. I get it. It is an inherent problem in our society. It is a problem, and it is not just something that is just current, contemporary, nowadays. It has been an ongoing issue in this country. So I get it. I'm aware that in poor areas, where people have to do things they don't necessarily want to do to survive and live, I get it. But I could just feel no empathy for these characters, knowing that their friends are dropping like flies. And I kind of lost any care I would have for somebody like that. Because they have an opportunity in the book where they could go to rehab. And this is the thing that floors me, that Tiffany McDaniel always kind of does this. She's always very poetic in her writing. There's always some kind of deep underlying meaning with every scene she kind of does. And I kind of enjoy that. I kind of like that she kind of takes like this kind of, this bigger picture, and then it's like, the role of the environment, that nature has an effect on everything and everyone. I really dig that. That's one of the things I like about her writing. She's kind of in tune to that Native American kind of aspect. I like that. But I felt like it was at times, and they even she threw in a character who you're kind of pegging as the guy who's doing it all. There's a really creepy character that's introduced, and that did make the story a little more enjoyable. And then, one of the things that really threw me through a loop for this book, not only did I lose empathy for the characters, but I felt like it dragged on way too long than it necessarily should have. And then Tiffany McDaniel, I'm hoping this is not spoiling it, because I felt like this was such a radical change in the way the story was going. So we've read 3/4 of this book, and we feel like it's going in a certain direction. And then just before the finish mark of the book, she throws in this ideology that the one twin was dead years ago, that she had died as a child from a flu, and that she just never existed for this storyline. And that really threw me through a loop, because it made a lot of scenes kind of not make sense, because there were interactions between the two twins and with other people. Wait, what? I'm sorry, but I could not overlook that massive plot hole, because I'm like, how could you do that? And then like she kind of wrapped it up after that with the idea that this is social commentary on how addiction is kind of destroying rural like America. And I get it. I get it. There is a message there, and I get the message, and that's probably why I decided that, because I was feeling like this was a 2 out of 5 star rating book for me, to be honest with you guys. It just was not for me. If you want to read some prime Tiffany McDaniel, you need to read The Summer That Melted Everything. I feel like hands down that is her best book to date. That is the best book she has written. If you're looking for something that has some kind of deep meaning with like well-developed characters and a great story, that is the one you need to read, not this one. But I decided to give this one a 3 out of 5 star rating. I feel like I was kind of being generous with that rating because, like I said, I just was not feeling it. It took me over 2 years to read this. Over 2 years to read it, but I finally pushed through it last night and I finished it. And here's the review. I'm sorry, it's not like... I know that I feel like everybody else, because I think this book has a standard average rating of 4 out of 5 stars. And I kind of wonder if people do that because they, you know, they've got the feels from reading Betty. And I feel like there's a lot of people who neglected to read her first book, which is her best book. But yeah, I'm not going to ramble about that anymore. It is what it is. I don't know if she's currently working on any other books. I kind of lost touch with her because she was supposed to do an interview for my channel and she kind of like kept pushing it off that she was busy with other projects. So I just kind of let it go to the wayside because I felt like at the time I just did not want to do author interviews anymore. I did a few of them. I don't think I'm ever going to do them again because they are a lot of hard work. I mean, if you are a content creator and you weren't aware, yeah, going out, trying to reach out to somebody, finally contacting them and setting up a schedule to actually film and do an interview is not easy. It is a lot of hard work. It's something that I rather do not want to waste and expend my energy on anymore. But enough of that. Of course, as always, I will have a link to Amazon if you do want to check this book out for yourselves. I'm also going to have a coffee link if you wouldn't mind buying me a coffee or two to help support my channel. If you're looking for more of these kind of like, you know, honest reviews, and maybe you kind of felt the same way about this book, then go ahead, hit that subscriber button, hit that notification bell so you know when I upload again. Sorry, I didn't feel like this was that strong of a book for me. I like Tiffany McDaniel as a person. I liked her prior 2 books. I really love them. But this one, just not so much. Just didn't do anything for me. I am a fan of true crime, and I like that she kind of incorporated that into the story, but then it just kind of fell to the wayside with that kind of pivotal like thing. You can't just throw that in there and just expect no questions to be asked about it. It is what it is, and that's all I got for you guys. Till next time, later.